I'd like to introduce our next speaker here at the Planet MicroCap Showcase 2024. Joining us is Adam Levy from NEXGEL. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for coming to our presentation. The clicker, there it goes. No, clicker's not working. The clicker's just going back and forth. Oh, there it goes. Okay. So, NEXGEL, who we are and what we do. We are a hydrogel manufacturing facility. We are located in Langhorne, Pennsylvania. We have a 16,500 square foot facility there. We are an FDA, ISO, and CGMP facility. We're ISO 13485 for medical device. We recently also opened a converting and packaging operation that we have as a joint venture down in Granbury, Texas. So we make essentially sheets of water. The core technology is using an electron-beam accelerator to cross-link water and polymer without using or the need for chemical cross-link agents and UV light, which is the way most common hydrogels are manufactured. This gives us a medical-grade, biocompatible product that is an excellent dermal and transdermal delivery system, and there's multiple applications across very large markets for this, and we'll get into those as we move forward. So the electron beam technology allows us to make adhesive patches as well as wound dressings that do not do what acrylic adhesive and these chemicals that are used in the other cross-link agents do, which is irritate the skin, cause skin allergies, discomfort, skin tears. We eliminate all of those. And these are all non-starters for markets like dermatology, beauty and cosmetics, medical device, and drug delivery. So when I got to the company, it had been making these very specific medical gels for large companies, Baird, J&J, for 15 years. They'd never really applied it to anything else. I got there, it was a kind of sleepy business doing about $500,000 a year in sales, never had a salesman, never had an outbound sales call, never had a business development person. So I saw three potential areas where we could grow the business. The first was to create our own medical devices and thereby move up the food chain. We'll get into those in a second. The largest opportunity, I thought, was custom and white label. So what do I mean by that? Think about a company with a successful product line. They have a lotion, a cream, a gel. They've spent millions of dollars marketing it. Now for the first time, they could have a patch because for their applications, again, beauty and cosmetics, dermatology, the use of adhesive is not acceptable. The last one that I thought was a expansion area for us was branded products. And I was not too keen on branded products. Brands are difficult. They are expensive to build. Consumers are fickle. There's all sorts of issues. It's expensive and it's risky. So I'd kind of put that on the back burner, but the events of 2020 sort of changed that a little bit, and we're actually kind of happy it did. So first, our aspirational medical device opportunities. Why do we call these aspirational? Because we know that we're not going to market these products ourselves. We are not going to take them to market. The markets that we're addressing here are dominated by giant players, Avery Dennison, 3M, Owens & Minor. So what we did instead was we decided to approach them early and say, if we build this, would you be interested in it? And we're going to look to off-license these programs. We spend a very modest budget for R&D to move these products forward, but we do think that there's enough potential here that we should continue to explore and move these forward. So the first one we've been talking around for a while is the NexDrape, but the NexDrape really is emblematic of a larger problem, which is anywhere that a medical device spends time on a patient's skin. If that patient has compromised skin, fragile skin, think of the elderly, diabetics, people on blood thinners, you have a chance for irritation, pain, skin tears, damage, bruising, etc. So the drape here, we did a animal study and 2 cadaver studies. The pictures on the right are from the last cadaver study, and it highlights why our gel is so unique. This was a spine surgery that we kind of mimicked. We opened the cadaver all the way up down to the spine. We put the drapes on and prepped the body as you would before a surgery. Both drapes perform similarly during the procedure, but on removal, you can see that one of them has skin tears. There's a lot of skin that came off. The skin is discolored. You're removing layers of skin, which is counterintuitive to preventing infection. Whereas by contrast, we have nice rich skin color. The drape came up very easily. And this is true for multiple different potential markets. We used and applied that technology to our current amblyopia treatment. Amblyopia affects somewhere between 2.5 to 3 children out of 100 in this country, so it's a pretty large market. There's three ways to treat amblyopia. You can put a pirate patch on, but the kids cheat and look underneath it. You can put a glasses patch on, but the light comes in from the side, or you can attach an adhesive patch, which probably has the best efficacy. The problem is if you put an acrylic adhesive on a child's face and take it off over and over again for days and days, they will develop these very bad red rashes. A lot of kids have a lot of pain, a lot of difficulty, and now they don't want to wear the patch. So you have a compliance issue. Our patch goes on completely pain-free. We just rolled it out on Amazon. We're currently in about 30 ophthalmologists, pediatric ophthalmology offices. The feedback has been terrific, and the uptake is just starting as we speak. So in consumer health and beauty, this is part of our white label strategy. So in our white label strategy, people will come to us and they'll say, we have this active, we have this ingredient. Can you get it in a patch for us, and can you make a patch that would be suitable? We charge these people a fee, so we take no risk. We do that for two reasons. One, so we don't take any risk, but mostly because we only have one accelerator, so validating a customer is important, right? This tells us if they can't write the first check, then they're probably not a serious customer. This strategy has allowed us to sign deals with AbbVie, Haleon, and STADA. We are creating consumer products for all of them. STADA actually is more of a cross cooperation, where we'll be distributing some of their products, and we'll get that a little bit further down the road here, and they'll be distributing some of our products in Europe. But AbbVie is a perfect example of this, and I'll show you about that in a second. So AbbVie acquired a company called Soliton that made a machine called the Resonic. And this is a very large opportunity that we're very excited about. They paid $550 million for this machine. It is a treatment for the appearance of cellulite. It is non-invasive, it is relatively pain-free, and it lasts for more than a year and is FDA cleared. They are planning their launch of rolling this machine out. Now, the interesting thing is that it uses sonics to sever the septa. In order to get the right frequency, you must shoot the sonic wave through a high water biocompatible gel. So if that sounds familiar, we're the only ones that make that kind of a product. So we landed this contract. In Q1, we got a non-refundable $176,000 deposit for future orders. We had originally thought this was going to launch. AbbVie's original schedule got pushed back a few months, which we announced at our last conference call. But we're still very excited about this, and we think this is our largest opportunity coming forward. Our partnership with STADA is well underway. We also announced that at the end of last year. They are a $3.8 billion consumer healthcare company. I think they're the fourth largest in Europe. They are giving us a line of products. This is an established product line, which we will be announcing exactly what it is shortly, but we wanted to keep it quiet. The product's not coming out probably until the end of June, which is coming up very close. We are preparing for the launch. We'll be distributing those products here in a joint venture for them, and then they will be taking some of our products for some of their territories in Europe. This is about our joint venture with CG Laboratories. I would get very intelligent investors asking me questions about our capacity. Our capacity to make gel from the very beginning was virtually unlimited. We were at 4% capacity when I took over. We're still only at about 9 to 11 now. So the machine can make a lot of gel. Where we had a backlog was in converting and packaging. We have a small white room at the facility in Langhorne, but it's too labor intensive. We really would struggle with any orders above 25 to 50,000 units. So as we started to land or see that we're going to land some of these very large customers, we went into a joint venture with an established converter and packager that we've been doing business with for years, and we now have this facility in Granbury, Texas. We did make an announcement it might have been in Q4, that we've just started an expansion of the facility down there. So the facility was about 12,000 square feet. We're doubling the size of it, and that building should be completed by the end of this month, and the clean room and the full setup, and be operational in July. So proprietary branded products. As I mentioned, I was not keen on these to begin with. We were more interested in the third-party white label. We got a very strong reaction to the two consumer shows that we went to and met with different companies. And then the pandemic hit. And we were private at that time, so we immediately got some idle and PPP money. But we were sitting around going, well, what do we do now? So the thought was, well, let's at least just make a couple products and put them up on Amazon and see if people like them. So that being said, our first product was the Hexagels you see there. We put that up at the very end of 2020. We today have 19 products on Amazon, and we're probably going to do about 2.5 to 3 million in sales on Amazon alone this year. The main areas for us for expansion now of this product line is to continue to put out new products. We have a pretty robust new product pipeline. But more importantly, a couple of our hero products are now retail worthy. So getting things like our Silverseal product into Walgreens and CVS and the like is important. And we are currently going through our MDR compliance. We have our final inspection at the end of May. May 24th is the last day of the inspection. And once we are MDR compliant as a facility, we will be able to release our products with CE marks throughout Europe. Now, that's the Class 1 devices, which is a great number of our devices, like the Hexagels and Moist Burn Pad. Silverseal is going to require a little more time because it is a Class 3 medical device. So let's talk about Silverseal for a second. This is our largest selling product. This is the one that everybody loves. Silverseal was used in hospitals on the worst wounds imaginable: diabetic foot ulcers, chronic venous insufficiency, third-degree burns. It was used without an adverse event for 15 years. We got it over-the-counter approved. The messaging of a hospital quality grade product now available to you at home has resonated with the consumer, and the product took off almost immediately from its introduction on Amazon, and it continues to grow month over month. We do have some interesting data on Silverseal. First of all, we now can put on our box that it kills staph, MRSA, and strep. That is very important for turf burns and abrasions and athletes who might get staph and MRSA infections, where it's a real problem. The equipment is dirty, the fields are dirty. It is a real area of need. We also had a 40-patient double-blinded study that was published showing that we can significantly reduce the amount of scarring. So on a post-AS score, we showed a significance in scar length, scar width, overall scar appearance, and a reduction in pain. So the pain is really what kind of makes the consumers rave about the product on Amazon. I don't know if any of you guys have ever burned your finger really badly, but if you take it, you put it in water, the pain goes away. It's amazing. And then you take it out of the water and the water starts to evaporate and the pain comes back. Well, this product is 94% water with 1.5% ionized silver, which creates the antimicrobial. So it's kind of like putting your finger in the jar of water and just leaving it in there. This is some photographs from the scar study. And again, this is a huge market. So we are now looking and seeking to put that in our messaging. We're looking to go to cosmetic surgeons, we think is a big potential market for us. And we are investigating that now. So in December, we also bought another little product line, and that was the Kenkoderm skincare line. I do get asked a lot as to why we purchased it, and it was a great fit for us, so I'm more than happy to explain. Our technology is amazing. The hydrogel is an amazing technology. But if you're going to build out a healthcare company, you can't base the whole thing on one technology. So looking for something that's in our ethos, my background is in roll-up, that has the same sort of standards and is addressing the same type of consumers that we're looking for, makes perfect sense. This acquisition was done. It is an accretive acquisition to our business. It is EBITDA positive and will contribute in the first quarter positively to our EBITDA. It is a line of psoriasis products. So the story behind this, similar to ours, was during the pandemic. Dermatologist's husband had psoriasis and wanted her to put him on Skyrizi. And she basically said, I really don't feel comfortable putting you on an immune suppressant during a pandemic. So what do we try to create some products that I think could help you? They did. His friends liked it. He liked it. They put it on Amazon, and the product line took off. There are a lot of synergies here. So we, first of all, bought it at a reasonable price just based on the cash it was throwing off. But now we have a lot of other opportunities. Kenkoderm also is not yet at retail. So now as we're going out and discussing with our potential retail partners about carrying our product lines, there's just more product in the bag. Similarly, Kenkoderm was never approved for Europe. So now as we go and talk to our European distributors, we have more products in the bag. Additionally, Kenkoderm had a 10,000 person following on Facebook, as well as 35,000 unique customer emails. This cross promotion has not started yet. We are currently revamping the consumer product side for website for NEXGEL, which is our brand. Until that is done, we're not going to do that. But then we're going to go out and say, hey, good news, Kenkoderm customers, we're now partners with NEXGEL, and here's a code to go buy their product. So we can also market to their list. This sort of a tuck-in acquisition is part of our strategy. The big fish are still the AbbVies, and the Owens & Minors and the Cintas's of the world. Those are the very, very big fish, but they take a long time to onboard. So to continue our growth, we're going to do a little bit of both, and we think that makes a lot of strategic sense. So this is just about our expansion that we're doing down there. We're doubling the size of the facility. We're added 2 new mechanized lines, a MacTech machine, new Harpak Ullman machine. This will allow us to fulfill a lot of these very large orders. And as I said, this facility should be fully online in July. So real quick on the financial overview, we've basically the last 2 years doubled the size of the business each year. Contract manufacturing continues to grow. Branded products continues to grow. Pretty robust numbers. And our product revenue continues to grow. We did guide Q1 2023 at 1.25 million. We had 2.7 million in cash as of December 31st. We also, after that, closed a financing of $1 million. I had long talked to investors and told them that we would not need to raise any capital in order to reach cash flow positive. We still believe that and believed it then, but that is coincidentally exactly what we paid for Kenkoderm. So we just replaced it on the balance sheet. It was also a nice safety net because when you're dealing with companies as large as AbbVie and machines as complex as the Resonic, delays can happen. And sure enough, we had no idea, but 2 months later, we had a delay at the launch of the AbbVie product. So we're very pleased we did that. But basically, we are set with cash to profitability. And the only reason we would ever go back into the market would be to acquire something, and that something we would acquire would have to be accretive. And I think these are just charts that show the profit margins. You're going to see continued improvement in our margins. We've been saying that all along. That's because of the fixed costs up in Langhorne. The margins do bounce around a little bit because it depends on where the flow of the business is. Additionally, you'll see some jumps around in revenue because of the strong relationship we have with the Granbury partner. They buy a lot of gel from us for customers that they sell directly. So in a quarter where we may have shipped them a lot of gel, but they didn't necessarily ship the finished product out, none of those sales count. So it sometimes skews the quarters a little bit, but in general, you'll see year-over-year growth, and that's going to continue for the foreseeable future. So again, these are just a recap of our multiple paths for growth. The medical devices, including some drug delivery programs we have, we're very excited about. Again, don't spend a lot of money on those, looking for partners to out-license them. Proprietary products continue to grow. We're now just expanding the markets that we're in. Custom and white label interest continues to be strong. We pick up 3 or 4 new potential customers every quarter. And our contract manufacturing, that's just blocking and tackling, but we continue to grow that business. When I got here, it was about 500,000 outside raw gel sales. We're now about 1.2 million in that segment. So that's just doing the work. And that's the presentation. So if anyone has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Yes.
On the last category, contract manufacturing, what sort of, contract manufacturing, that might sort of gross margin once things drop at steady state.
Yeah, so we look at our margins again away from the overhead a little bit because we have to because of how it's skewed by the facility costs. We look for contribution margin in contract manufacturing of about 50%. We think of the margin on our Amazon sales as being a contribution margin of between 20 and 25%. Obviously, that's got very high margins because things like most of the costs of Amazon are not in COGS, so that's a little skewed. Down in Granbury, we look at our margins in the 35 to 45% range for the converting and packaging done.
Manufacture gel. You don't manufacture Silverseal yourself, right? All that.
Silverseal, we do. That is a gel. Yeah, that is a medical gel that we make. But Kenkoderm, you are right. We use a contract manufacturer outside third party, which is nice also because it doesn't tax our capacity whatsoever. Yes. So a couple things. The technology for electron beam hydrogel manufacturing is old. So there are no patents around that specifically. However, we do have individual patents on the products that we've invented, like our surgical drape. So we continually are getting new and refreshed patents. Obviously, we would have patents on the drug delivery applications. So we file patents as we go on the innovations we use with the gel. There are only 2 facilities in the world that make hydrogels this way. We own one, Medtronic owns the other. Medtronic is not a competitor of ours. They don't do contract manufacturing for anyone, and they don't make consumer products. In fact, they're one of our customers. So they make one kind of gel, that's all they make, and we support 2 of their medical devices. One's a cancer ablation device. They're a small customer, like $250,000 a year in sales, but they don't want to come offline to make those gels, so we actually make it for them. The biggest barrier to entry is the know-how. This is a very difficult process that's been refined over 20 years. Believe it or not, the hardest part is the blending of the polymer. So we keep that very close to the vest and very proprietary. So it's not so easy to do. Also, you'd probably need $10 million and 2.5 years to build a machine. Yes?
On the FD deal, to understand it, when they do a procedure on a patient, they'll have this organ ready to raise plate file. You're part of that package, right? So you'll go into the package.
That's correct.
So how many NEXGEL pads will go into a package? Like what? Like in one procedure, what's the unit economics to you per procedure?
Sure, that's a great question. So each procedure uses a minimum of 2 gel pads. If they're doing a larger area of the body, it could use more. The AbbVie is ordering the gel pads from us in two different pack sizes, a 2-pack for one procedure and a 10-pack. I guess it's a little bit cheaper to order them in a 10-pack because of the cartoning. And so that's really what it is. Every procedure will use at least 2 of our pads. We sell the pads to AbbVie. These are large pads, between $3.50 and $5 is the range, depending on how, per pad. That's per pad. So a 10-pack would be 10 times that amount, but at the lower number, right. But and each pad is about the blended price is probably about $4, $4.50, yeah, per pad. Yeah, they're 8x8 actually. They're larger. Yes.
No, Kenkoderm, you mentioned strategy going 3 days. How work it is there also kind of solvencies and so on to be those 90 years will be, and then how do you bring that product to customers that do not know it? So I guess you'll have some promotions, marketing, that's extra cost.
Yeah, except that Kenkoderm was already doing a lot of those things and had a pretty robust budget. But let's start with the first part of your question, which is a great question. When you go into these chains, there are fees. And that's why we're very, very selective about what products we put into retail. We purposely did not go to retail for the first 2 years of having Silverseal and Hexagels on Amazon, because if you go to retail too soon, to your point, they will charge you those slotting fees. They'll order a ton of product. They'll tell you need an expensive end cap. The product won't sell. They won't pay you. They'll send all the product back. It's a disaster. So you really have to be very cautious in your approach to retail. We like doing regional promotions. One of the discussions we're having, one of the chains right now is around private label, which makes a lot of sense to us. Lower margin, but not the risk of that stocking. You also get that shelf space and that slotting stuff for free. So for a company of our size, that does make a lot of sense. To the advertising and marketing, Kenkoderm, we just actually got them the seal of approval from the National Society of Psoriasis. So we'll be using that in our marketing. We're going to continue to do that, but they had a pretty robust marketing budget when we bought them. So it's not like there's new costs that are coming out of nowhere. In fact, there's a savings because they duplicated some of the same services. Anything else? Okay, thank you.